There you are. So yes, I just I get these little links with like fi- short YouTubes. They're like the 30-second ones, and once in a while, I realized I was nearly getting a little addicted because they're so good at figuring out what your field of interest is. So this incredible, profound stuff comes up. So there was this Rupert Spira one, and I heard him say this before, but this is what he often says: the recognition of, sorry, should have written it down. The recognition of the recognition of the awareness of our being. Oh no, just awareness of being is happiness itself. It's simple like that. Mhm. Awareness, the awareness of being, and you might say the awareness of our being is happiness itself. Yeah, so just feel into that. Right? So just the recognition of our beingness. That's what I always try to point at. Um, Also kind of immediately points at the misinterpretation of happiness, always looking in objective experience, the passing kind and the built-in disappointment, and also the search for happiness is an admission of unhappiness. So let's take a breath together and then just come to rest into recognition of our beingness. And yes, the ordinary mind will immediately go like, well, that's a bit boring because it doesn't have to build in incredible spikes of temporary joy, which is all very valid too. And yeah, so in that mistaken pursuit, uh, we we think we are pursuing pleasure and happiness, but what our heart is truly longing for is fulfillment. And in a way so simple yet not easy, here we are, basically coming to rest in our own fulfillment right now. And and when fulfillment starts saturating our space of being, then the clinging and the craving, the intense thirst for something has dissolved, and then that fulfillment is different than just pleasure. Being the loving presence of awareness knowingly helps us understand what we actually want. And we want to feel and experience our innate peace and the springing into clear knowing being of a primordial wisdom. So because when we identify with the egoic mind or ordinary mind, um, or separate identity, we come to hang over the ever unnerving, even scary existential abyss. Because the non existing thing, our egoic mind, knows it's finite, but is reaching for immortality. It's scary to identify with a finite identity, an ego, a personal identity whose only purpose is indeed reaching for that immortality. The experience, even the belief that I am, that I exist, is incredibly convincing. It feels so real, and somehow we never really investigate what our true essence is. The self inquiry is the realization of the nature of being, which is free and independent of thought, free of time, free of being separate. And from this opening, this gate where there is no wall, the timeline will be broken, and we come face to face with eternity. And because you'll be feeling it, it'll be loud and clear that there is no past and future. And then it will be so incredibly obvious. So often when we get into the more deliberate practice, I, I speak about the always right with usness of the field of being, the field of awareness, but also its timelessness, its ever presence. So if you wish to take a breath with me, and notice the constancy of the presence of awareness. So that so we often in mindfulness practice and we point at coming into presence, but presence is always here. It's just not always known. So there's a constancy of presence. There's the constancy of knowing. Without the knowing, we wouldn't know our experience. So now this kind of fold back. Um, so practice the gaze. Open the gaze. Not particularizing, just all at onceness gaze. So you don't have to look at me or the screen. Notice the room around your screen. Notice the room outside, even the space outside of your peripheral vision. And then 360-degree gazing, also from beingness, from the heart. And then in that 360-degree gaze, we also gaze back into that beingness, which is self-evidently present. So I have printed out a, a couple of things that here Mingyur Rinpoche says. There is an oral instruction about the way to look. It is said, it is as though your eyes were looking through the back of your head instead of looking forward. It is as though your eyes are looking backwards instead of forwards as they usually do. You are looking out with your eyes, but are looking back at the same time. And then he adds, do not try too hard with this though, otherwise you will really make a big mistake. Okay? You just sort of look back at your mind and say, who am I? Where am I? What is this? And then his brother Tsoknyi Rinpoche says about the Sochen recognition of Rigpa. The way to do this is just to turn your attention slightly inward, not to look deeply inside, just to turn your focus from outward to inward in a very light way. And Lopon Tenzin Namdak says the introduction is very simple. We just look back at ourselves. He keeps it simple. And then I also added Douglas Harding of the Headless Seer. All one has to do to enter this fourth stage of the journey, okay, that's about the book, is however briefly to turn around the arrow of one's attention. And the Upanishad puts it this way: God made the senses turn outwards. Man therefore looks outwards, not into himself, but occasionally a daring soul, desiring immortality, has looked back. Oh, there's that desire for immortality again. So let's take a breath. Coming into presence. 360 degree gaze in the sphere of being. Here we are together. And this gaze we can hold throughout our life. Sometimes when you kind of habituate this gaze, it's the gaze itself that kind of pulls you back into presence. And we come to know, in a very profound way, our own true nature. And so, indeed, in this way, being in the world with others, we spread our Buddha wings into this compassionate dimension, a dimensionless dimension. When we hold it this spaciously, the path of spacious liberation, we become so incredibly skillful in our compassionate expression in the world. And then we completely understand the arising of difficult emotions and let them arise and liberate on their own accord. We come to see the beauty and wisdom of temporary difficult mind states just as much as momentary bliss and joy. We stop trying to squeeze something out of our lives all the time. And more we just start caring about awareness, realizing our true nature. Among the ebb and flow of a life which is rising and falling and moving, we indeed realize the constancy, the ever-presence of our boundless, spacious field of being. So first we learn to gaze into the field, then we gaze into the field from being, and then we realize we are the whole field. Just open. Just open. Just being the boundless presence of the luminous nature of mind. And then this open space is full of love and compassion and positive mind states just shimmering in. We gain a realization, a direct experience of that open true nature. And by holding it, holding sounds a little tight, but I'm limited by vocabulary. By continuing the flow of being, the stream of being, knowingly, it has a subtle purifying and refining influence on our being. It allows us to just relax. So relax attention. Relax the thoughts. So that means the thoughts can trickle, they can flow. They just shimmer into being and shimmer out of being. And they acquire a directionality with a positive intent. And then we feel, I'm okay just as I am, without doing anything more than breathing in and out. I'm okay, I'm fine, nothing more to do. Fulfilled. This is the purpose in the world, being a human being. If I'm already complete, I'm not hungry for things. And all things that arise, apparent good things and bad things, they all have the same ground, the same nature. They're all empty, they're all insubstantial, indeed like a dream. Except if you recognize your true nature, it's like a happy dream. If you don't recognize your true nature, it's like a nightmare. Both dreams and nightmares have the same nature. They are illusions, they are just manifestations. So don't identify with the dream. Identify with the sphere of being, the field of being, and again, a little within, a little without, no within, all within. So then, not only timeless, the constancy of the field, but also the non-dual experience. It's like everything arising within the sphere of knowing, everything that arises, all appearance, all movement, all objects, and the boundless, um, infinite sphere of knowing are one whole, one boundless whole. Awareness, knowing and being. And from there won't be any dissatisfaction woven into the texture of our life any longer. The fluctuations will come and go, yet here we are. May all beings be happy. Let the intent arise right now to really awaken. And this is the state of our mind and heart. Not for us just now together, because my new little phrase is, this is not a meditation group, this is an awakening group. So it doesn't end at 8:50. May you hold all beings from this open sphere of spacious liberation forever forward. That's our beautiful intent. May all beings awaken and be free from their limiting beliefs of who they are not. Oh well, here we are. We just jump on that. Orjunjul jinup jansam pe marge sardong pola yatsen chok yinu drupne pe majung ne jesu dra gordu kandro mang po kor ki jesu dar drup ki jinji lap shir shek su sol Guru Pemai Siddhi Hung. Let the Om and the Anu Hung resonate and liberate and heal. Liberate Om for the natural body. Liberate the breath and energy. And liberate the heart and mind in presence resonating. Om Ahung Ben Sargur Be Mai Siddhi Hung. 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 Om Ahung mai suri om ma benza gu pe mai suri om. Softly, gently. Om Sagur Pe Mai Siri Om Ben Zagur Pe Mai Siri Om Ben Zagur Pe Mai Siri Om Benzagu Be My City Om. One more time with just your heart and mind. Just close your eyes for a bit. Notice the fact that you are conscious and aware. Being that spacious field of knowing. And notice the quality of what it feels like to be you today. Notice the quality of your inner mental state. Is your inner mental environment like being in clear, open, aware space? Or is it a little bit foggy? A bit of an unclear space of awareness? Or is it somewhere in between? And if it's a little bit foggy, let's take a breath. Just dissolve any residual shards of subconscious patterns, little vapors that we wish to coagulate into opaque clouds of thoughts. Just even the subtleties, dissolve. Just noticing the condition of your consciousness. You aren't your body or mental self-images. You're only this consciousness. Just a sphere of crystal clear, aware consciousness. Inner state of inner clarity. Becoming more transparent. Within your consciousness, notice its the quality of insubstantiality or no solidity, or indeed like empty but aware space. And notice now, with your eyes closed, how the thoughts or images can appear in it without altering the empty presence of awareness in which they arise and dissolve. Your awareness is like a glass mirror. All reflections in the mirror-like sphere of awareness, the reflecting sphere of awareness. It's not affecting the glass in any way. This is the space of freedom. This is home. And now if any difficult mind states appear, just notice the empty quality of your awareness that is hosting this mental arising. The mere fact that I know means I'm free. What I am is loving freedom. If you wish, take a breath with me, refresh. Hold the same boundless gaze, and if you wish, you can open your eyes or keep them closed, but gaze out into the space. Don't focus, yet not out of focus. Open gaze, open heart. Gaze out in all directions. Have awareness flow out, saturate the space all around, and also flow back onto the center, the apparent center, the meditator. Open up awareness at the heart so that becomes spacious too. No center. Staying the open, decontracted field of awareness while there is some motion, and often there is some distraction. So if some thought uh, pulled you into a little dream, then maybe, because when we do a mixing practice, sometimes go, oh, what shall I think about in this space? You can maybe repeat the thought that was the distracting, pull you off your seat of presence thought. Because that's maybe one of your more seductive ones that actually showed up as a lesson. This is the type of thought that distracts me. So see if you just repeat that thought, and maybe even in detail, while staying in your open field of presence. So indeed, like Mingyur and Chokni said, within and without at the same time. So feeling into the field of being, sitting in the continuity of that is our practice, but also letting it come and go. So then you can have the intent to gravitate a little bit more towards appearance. And if that becomes distracting, you just fall back a little bit more into the field of being. And yes, that sounds a little bit like doing. So no pushing and pulling, just a soft little intent. Just navigating the space and then letting go of all navigation. Just playing a little bit with perspective. Realizing that whatever arises, thoughts, feelings, emotions, and apparent out there perceptions are all the fabric of awareness. All I have ever been and all I will ever be is the knowing of my being, which includes all events and appearance. And as maybe a creative arising as an appearance, we again let the intent arise that we are awakening for the benefit of all beings. Having a little bit of that collective intent arise puts a little bit more strength on our non-distraction. And we also pay attention to the awakening of the one on our seat. May she or he stay awake for the rest of today. Another very important one that comes down the lineage and I often mention is lightheartedness. If it gets too serious, it's a little bit of the ordinary mind trickling in. It's like, ooh, now this is my liberation. Remember, we're starting to realize that liberation wasn't necessary in the first place. We've always been free. The only thing that binds us is our own limiting beliefs. Don't even have to be a yogi to awaken. Just natural flow. So maybe come out of your posture a little bit, but keep your mind spacious and undistracted. You can maybe look around the space a little bit. and notice some things. So now you can have simultaneous gaze even. I notice some things, yet it's arising in my sphere of awareness. Oh, I said my, yeah, that too. The beautiful experience of the I-ness, the me in the world, the Buddha in the world. I wish to perceive this feeling of me, and I feel good about that. I'm free from it, yet it arises so vividly, illusory but vivid. So then, yes, again, happiness is the knowing of being. This soft, all okayness. And then, even though from the boundless perspective or the absolute perspective, nothing matters. And here in the world, everything matters. And we've just decided to be awakened Buddhas in the world and play nice, play compassionately. In this boundless sandbox, we play nice. Because that's all we can do when we hold this open perspective. So let's promise ourselves to keep asking as many times as we can a day, am I here? And not immediately being satisfied with being just mindful. Oh yeah, I know I'm here. Oh yeah, I'm not distracted. Just open up more, like we're practicing. Just saturating the space all around. Timeless. Time only arises in thought. Boundless. Realizing the personal identity is also just a playful arising in the unconditional, loving sphere of being. Okay, then. Everybody happy, even if you say maybe not so happy today. And on behalf of all beings, thank you so much for your beautiful practice. Let's share the screen, find my book. The illusory, difficult to find book a lot of the time. Gewadiyi nurdu dak chokpachempo drup gyurnye doachi kyang malupa deyi sala gopar shuk. Through this virtue may we swiftly realize and fully embody the natural great perfection, and ever bring all, without exception, to its complete realization. Oh yes. Nanrak Riksum Nanyak Chokyu Nung Kudang Yeshe Ropa Jamlepa Sapsang Na Yor Tiempo Nyam Yen La Shame Tikyu Tikli Ro Shik Shok. Appearances, sounds, and awareness expressing deity, you, mantra and dharmakaya, arise as the infinite display of kayas and wisdoms in the profound inmost practice of the great yoga. One taste, indivisible with mind essence. Oh yeah, put that in your pipe. Here we go. May all beings everywhere with whom we are inseparably interconnected and who want and need the same as we do, may all be awakened, liberated, happy, healed, fulfilled, and free. May there be peace in this world and throughout all realms of existence and all possible universes. An end to war, violence, poverty, injustice, and oppression. And may we all together, heart to heart, completely finish and end the spiritual journey and be together. What the hell? I trip over my own words. Thank you so much. All these words. We just be poetically together to really feel into interconnected space. Did anything come up this week, this year, in this practice together? Any concerns? Any limiting beliefs? What is arising? Please share. It's so healing for us to share. Don't be polite. Just come on in.
Probably everybody knows this answer but me. Why is it sometimes of Oma Hum Vajra Guru Pama Siddhi Hum and sometimes it's Oma Hum Binza Guru Pema Siddhi Hum?
Good question. Not everybody knows it. Benzar is Tibetan and Vajra is Sanskrit. So it's the same thing for the Vajra. This,
Yes. And
right?
it means diamond?
Sure, diamond too, or like a tigli, like the ultimate sphere, which is if you look at it, there's like a little, like this is the sphere in the center, the sphere of being, and then from there it bursts out into apparent duality in the world. So you got on this side, and then it's the five wisdoms. They're like five little things here in the center also. I'm not all the way qualified to teach this, but this is the little bit I know. So if you really get, so it's the five wisdoms come up. So the five wisdoms, you can look that up to maybe you can do Sochen or Mahamudra, the five wisdoms. That's a very beautiful thing to know. So okay, so Bens are Tibetan for the same thing, and Vajra Sanskrit. That's
Okay, and would you say is whom or whom the last seed syllable?
yeah, beautiful questions and very in the Sangha of Lama Surya, everybody says hung, but I've also heard in other places hum, hum, but it's mostly about hu, hu, hu. It's about the din of the universe, because it's the hung, the om ah hung, the hung is like the boundless heart and mind. So it's the din of the universe, is the vibration, the awakening of the heart. So if you practice by yourself, you can kind of also find the tone of your voice that resonates the most. Like you go oh, 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 you can you can find really that frequency that really resonates with maybe your chakras or your energy body, and so you play with that sounding. And it's also the habituation of being able to have your mouth move, not so much from the egoic, limiting, finite mind, and more from the direct, um, clear light wisdom, something like that. Just tap dancing with words.
Okay. And one more question. So the five in Dzogchen, the five poisons become the five wisdoms.
Perfect. Yeah, beautiful. Yes, for my
Thank
practice.
you.
That's and not like some enlightened life 10,000 years from now. The five wisdoms are arising right now on your seat, just from the beautiful way you're asking questions. That I hear that as the five wisdoms just resonating in the room, so everyone can kind of wake up to that too. So that was really beautiful. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Tima.
Thank you, Donna.
I have something, Timo.
Yes.
Um,
Bear.
First, thank you again for this group, to bringing this group together, and everybody for coming out. Oh my. In the beginning you talked about something like turn the perceiver on the seer, or turn awareness on awareness.
Mhm.
Well, I've read about that. I've heard Lama Surya say that. You say that. And I go, what the hell? So when I'm meditating, I would try to turn awareness on awareness. It kind of got brighter, but I just did the best I could. And one time Kelly Amadea was leading Lama Surya's town hall, and she goes, real quick, turn awareness on awareness. And I'm not kidding you, real quick, I turned, Lama Surya showed you turn your chair around and turn yourself back on self. And I looked at awareness, and there was the groundless ground. There it was. And I went, wow, wow. So just keep practicing, everybody. We just keep doing, we keep trying, and then it'll click. And then we stabilize and go again, right? But what there is a groundless ground that's being where we live. That's our home. Well, anyway, it works.
Yeah, and you know it's so much better than you think a lot of the time. So this feeling of like, oh, I'm not getting it, I'm not getting it. That's
Yes.
belief right there, because it's actually when you have that unfindability, it's like actually one of the real beautiful answers right in there. It's not something to be found. It's just isness. So letting the investigation come to rest too, right? So and the search stops too, and then as soon as that ceases. Then it starts shimmering, clearly. And I also liked what you said about Kelly, something about the speed.
Yeah, it was the speed, Timo. She said real quick. And so that did it. I just real quick turned and had awareness, look at awareness. But my body was in front of this body. There was a Glenda in front of this Glenda, and I was looking at awareness, but it was also fast. And then it just went to the ground. You saw the vast emptiness of the ground, the beginningless beginning. Everything Dzogchen teaches, a lot of what Dzogchen teaches,
Yeah.
and you teach.
It's
It's
the thing that
true.
it's this that you're seeing it is this thing that can't be seen, but you can be it, and then you can be it knowingly, and that's the realization. And about the speed, that was interesting. I wanted to say something about that. Is that I hear Dan Brown explain when he sometimes guides. Well, he has passed now, but he's still guiding in many ways. He talks about light speed awareness, so we can discern also awareness from thoughts and other mind movements by its speed, because thought, and then he said has a certain amount of milliseconds. I forgot how many, and awareness has light speed. So something about maybe that can be a little bit of a pointing out into realization, as you obviously had from that. So you can notice. So that's for he goes from light speed awareness, search through the body for the self, and not thought looking for thought or emotion, not pushing one emotion away with another emotion, but really coming from that incredible instant quickness of awareness. So you can tell right now, if you go, I am aware, boom, it's just like it's already there. It doesn't even light speed is even limiting, like it, because light also goes from here to here in a certain amount of time. It switches. It just switches instantly as soon as the intent is there. Boom! It's not just here. Me is like enlightened, but the whole sphere is enlightened, and therefore, in that sphere, in that interconnectedness, when I am enlightened, even in that one moment, all beings are.
Oh,
So,
yes.
so that there is the incredible importance of our practice right there. Because we're liberating all beings, not again 10,000 years from now. It's happening right now. Bam.
So we just keep practicing in our own ways. Just keep at it. It's
Not just like, oh, I'm going to meditate again. No, no, don't. Like, oh, that's my big thing, right? Always like, no, no, all day long, all day long. And then, and then suddenly awareness starts awakening by itself to itself.
Yes.
Right? So,
Yes.
and then suddenly you start going, oh, here I am again. It's not even, you don't even need any tricks or, well, we can,
Right. Right.
it's
It's effortful for so long, and then it becomes effortless. I never
and a little bit
understood
of
that
both,
before.
right? So when you feel like, oh, I'm particularly opaque today because I have a lot to worry about, or I feel pain in my body or in my psychology, it's a little harder. Then we use I practice. I go, oh, my practice is arising at the heart of this difficult experience, or even more difficult, at the heart of this joy,
Mhm.
this passing type of joy. That's my problem. I'm great at when the shit hits the fan. I'm here. I know, but when I'm having fun, it takes a little bit more. Like, oh yeah, all right, yeah, this here I am. So yeah, so that
Oh,
yeah, that was great. Thank you,
thank you. Thank
Lena.
you.
Let me hear something else. Something that's going on with you. Otherwise, I just keep talking. Don't much talk. My mouth moves so much. Let's take a breath together. There you are. So say something to me from that space. Or type in the chat window what it feels like to be you right now. Or open your mic and just say it. One word, 3 words, just something short.
I unmuted because I was going to say, "Oh, it feels really heart expansive," and then so I was like, "Really, you're going to talk?" I felt the heart start to pound. but
I know.
um, but I had the greatest experience last night, not meditating and not seeking, and just like, oh yeah, this is it. Like just such realization without efforting, like you were talking about. Um, and just so much joy. Like it was just kind of a lark. Like it was just really fun. So that's my little share today. But I noticed just now, like a little tiny bit of, oh, should I talk about that? No, no. Like so it's just it's fascinating to see, to sort of hold that and like, no, then that is that going to be helpful, not helpful, still coming up to thought, you know. But it was a real I had a really great evening not meditating.
That
It
was
just
that was during our get together too of the Tuesday night.
no, it was after. It was
Oh,
after the get together doing nothing, like going to go get a toothbrush, you know? It
yeah,
was like,
right.
yeah,
Yeah, I recognize that. Right.
yeah. Like
Suddenly go that
Awakening in the Bathroom. That's my next book.
yeah, brushing my teeth. That is my realization. Right.
Right. Yeah.
I know that's yeah. See, no, there is no word said that is not healing. Even whatever you share is just so beautiful. Yeah. Well, really, well, that's great that you had that experience. So, are you still is that still resonating now?
A little bit. Yeah, yeah, for sure. It is interesting how just going to speak. And I mean, I speak a lot in front of, but then I can feel a little bit of uh, like constriction. You're not going to say this right or something. And so then I have to go like, okay, wait, no, you could come back here. That's why like it took me a second to unmute.
Yeah, I
I
could feel.
unmuted and then I went, no, wait, don't start to like tense up. Like come back here, and don't even worry about Tina about this side, like going out. It's really fascinating to try and hold that when you're talking. I think that's
Oh
my
yeah,
big challenge.
yeah. So
Yeah.
and yeah, and then and that experience that's a challenge is the limiting belief, right? Because it's
Yeah.
ultimately the super highway of all the words that exist and beyond, right? And but I know what you mean. That contraction is, of course, immediately. Oh, I'm going to be seen,
Hmm.
and then the ordinary mind rises really strongly. Oh, I don't want to be seen because I just want to show my good side, and then you start using a limited amount of vocabulary in that. Only the good words can come up right now. So that's like I find it really courageous when people you speak easily from the heart because you do that a lot. But when people speak and they say honestly, "Oh, I don't really know what I can want to say right now, or they get lost a little bit and go like, yeah, that's perfect too, you know, when you go like, okay, I opened my mic and I'm just showing that actually from the practice and being in the sangha, there are not many words I have right now, and that's just as beautiful as being very you know, having a free flow of words. Just it's all the perfect word, because all you could just make a sound. You just come in and go like om ah hung and open your mic. That's all I have to say. It's resonating in the space or whatever you want to say. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't matter, right? Ultimately, I would think if we are not expressing from the Buddha mind, the open space, you know, or the primordial wisdom space, then all we're saying all the time from the limited finite mind or the ordinary what about me mind, all it says all the time is, please tell me you love me, right? Or please acknowledge the fact that I exist. And then we have to go, you don't really exist. Oh shit. And then we get scared too.
Well, I
I,
think last night too, there was something about, oh, all of these thoughts have just been stories, that you don't have to like believe these stories of
yeah,
someday I'm going to get good enough at this meditating, then I'll be enlightened. It was such a story that it was just
oh,
laughable. Yeah.
right,
And so then as I'm going to talk, I recognize like, oh, there's a story still, like Tina's coming back into the picture that I've got to talk in a perfect way to protect that ego. And then there's a little disappointment that I'm not just going like, oh no, automatically. That's just like, remember back in the bathroom.
yeah.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, brushing your teeth in enlightenment and the ordinary mind arising when it is seen. When it's
Hmm.
seen, it wants to
That's it.
like clamp down, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
I So that's why when I start leading the meditation, I always have to. Oh, you have to. In the beginning, I feel that contraction too, because like, oh, it has to be the best one ever. This is the one, and you go, oh, just relax. Whatever it is, will it be? You know, it's just it's all just perfectly right. However,
Yeah.
it manifests. And then suddenly, yeah, you end up brushing your teeth in the shining light of wisdom and the joy of being.
Thank you.
Beautiful, thank you. Okay, then. I know somebody's holding back. I can tell. It's okay. It's perfectly valid to be quiet too. You know, there's this. It's just something that feels good. But we just sit here together a little longer. Okay, then. Promise me that you ask yourself many times today, where am I? Where am I coming from? Am I aware? But when I become aware, where was I stuck a little bit? So you start really realizing what are your most seductive patterns, and by learning those, you start deliberately allowing those more seductive patterns to arise while in the presence of awareness, and then they will heal and they will liberate. That's why we call it arising and liberate. They liberate. So once they liberate it, they have less of a tendency to bug you and bug all of us. So I hope you have a beautiful day. Thank you for being with us, and we'll see you soon. Have
Thank you so much. Have a great day.